on, Eddie, you're late.
Story of Eddie's life. He's always late.
I'm glad you're late. I was late until you got here.
Oh, we're on? Okay. All right. Well, good morning. It is good to see you all here this morning. We are having a special time. We have decided that since the church is making a new album of the members, and they're going to come in and make a picture of our class, that we just ought to talk a little bit amongst ourselves about this class, which has been going on for at least 50 years. It seemed like it was a good thing to do. We brought food, there are donuts, there are sausage biscuits, there is coffee, and we have a few pictures. One, we have an album that Gail Taylor made many years ago, and we brought it so that folks can look. And we have a few that we're going to show. We've got some up here on the screen that we will show a little as it goes along. But of greatest importance for all of you all who are here, you will notice, Danny, over here, we're having a special tribute to our associate members who are usually piled up in their recliner with their fuzzy pink slippers on, and we even got them a donut. So with those of you who are still in your fuzzy pink slippers this morning, we wanted you to know that we were still thinking of you. Now then, we ordinarily will take time to share with one another, but I want to do that a little different because I'm going to do that at the end of the time after our picture is taken. I want to invite any of you who want to see an album. Joan's got it over there and she's flipping through it at the moment, and there will be time after the picture is made to do that. And I am going to spend a few minutes this morning telling you all what I know, but asking you all to chip in anywhere you want to. I went so far as to actually write some stuff down because I figured I'd forget it if I didn't write it down. The important thing that you need to know, of course, is I'll do whatever I'm going to do. The thing's it's going to make its own move. So I've got some few pictures that I want to share with you. I don't know if you all know about the pig roast, but we used to have one. It was always cold. I have a few pictures of people that we don't see often. I don't know if you all know any of these people or not, but we're bringing it forward.
Somebody building the east wing across the hall or something?
Yep.
Yes.
We need to remember the Broadbecks especially because he's still having some difficulties, and she is too.
I tried to call him and didn't get an answer, and then this morning I texted him and asked him if he was still in the hospital and didn't get an answer, so I'm not sure what that means.
Well, we may not know it either. So then, here we are, and this is what's going to happen later on today. We've got the picture over here, some of the people, and I want to share a little bit of that with you because for some reason or the other, some of the members of our class will insist on having a class list, and they keep getting done and done and done. I have a list here. I couldn't find one before 1991. But I want to share some of the names that were on there that we do miss, and to call attention to them. And as you might imagine, since it's a 1991 list, and it is all in alphabetical order, Laquita and Phil Addington are at the top of the list here. Laquita would want your seat, Gene, if she was still here.
Who does?
Laquita Addington, Laquita would.
I would give it up for her.
But we've had a really eclectic group to come through this Sunday school class from time to time. What I have paid attention to is, you know, when people talk about uniformity and all being alike, there's nothing in this class that fits that. We don't think alike. We come from every denomination. I'm looking at Dick Barry here, who of course was Catholic and was a staunch supporter of this class, but he never did join the church. He was going to live and die a Catholic that he knew about, and we have some in the class that are that way today. We have Steve and Phyllis Brooks. Now they're people that can't make up their mind. They were here and they went away for a while, and now they've come back. And we're happy to have them. I want to pay particular attention to Bobby Collier, because Bobby is the one who always steered us in the direction of looking after people in the community, and continues to do that. Is that right? I thought it was. We used to have Ken and Martha Cook back in 1991. They went off to Lenore City for reasons that are totally unknown to me. We have Wayne Drury, who was a spark plug in this class for a lot of time, and finally convinced his son to come on and join too. No, that's not
I was
right.
here a lot before he even came up here.
Okay. So,
He came up the year that I joined your Sunday school.
we have Howard and Sue Farmer that we all remember fondly, and you all will remember that I will from time to time quote Sue, especially in the "Oh God of second chances, here I am again." We miss all of these people. We had Rob and Vivian Harris. We have the high schools, Jim and Linda High School. We have somebody by the name of Marshall Coon. Now, I don't know who Marshall was, but I do know Buddy. and we miss Buddy. And of course, we've got Kay Lennon on the list, and some people that you all may not, some of you all will have a hard time reaching back, but we had Don and Jean McNew. We had John Osborne, who loved to argue with Laquita. Those of you who will remember, Laquita was such a feminist and John was such a misogynist, and they could get into it in Sunday school. You're laughing. We had Jim and Marcia Pickle for a time. Marcia was a staunch Baptist and Jim was a staunch Presbyterian, and she drug him in here. And I do have a story to tell about Jim that I want you to know. The first time that he came, as this class is wont to do, somebody spoke up and says, well, we've got a little something going on and we need to take a special offering. So we did. And then somebody else spoke up and said, we've got this other little thing we need to do. We need another offering. And we did. And then Jane looked around and says, any of you want to give your regular offering so we can pick them up? And Jim looked at Marcia and he says, is it like this every week? We have the Postons, and Carol has been in town just here recently and really wanted to come in time to get her picture made, because she is part of the people with the fuzzy pink slippers, living off in some far off state. But she came in and we missed her by a week. Is that right, Lucy? Missed her by a week. We have Jim and Madeline Robbins. Madeline has been teaching, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. We have Jerry and Charlotte Stevens, and we have the Gold Dust twins, which I was showing, and I will go through that in just a minute. But let me start, and you all feel free to interrupt at any time that you want to. There's still food left, apparently. You all didn't eat it all yet, but you'll get a second chance, perhaps as we mill around after the picture gets taken. That means I've only got about 10 minutes or 15 to do this. So where did this class come from? We are celebrating 50 years, but the class actually started as a sort of an informal group John and Pat Browder were part of it. Jane and I were part of it. Berlin and Emily Hood were part of it. Nancy and John were part of it, except that John wouldn't come. John said he wasn't going to one of those people where all those liberals were. That's what he said, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Who else? Who did I miss in that initial group? People from the Cross-Eyed Cricket. Lockwoods. Anyhow, that was a little informal group, and that sort of went along for a while, and we were down in the basement of the educational wing. And then as time went by, we had a new preacher, Gary Marsh, and he decided that things needed to be a little more formal. So in the early 70s, he had initially set up the first couples class that we had, and Van and Bill Kerfoot were the teachers of that class, and they were in the classroom underneath the sanctuary. Am I right, Nancy?
Yes.
What year was that?
That was in about 1974 or 5, right in that neighborhood. And then Bill had the bad grace to get transferred by the company he was working for, and they had to leave. And about that time, I was teaching at that time. I was team teaching with a fellow by the name of Dave Cuneo, a bunch of men that were up behind the choir loft. But they invited us to come and be members of the class, and Jane says, "We're going," and I said, "Yes, dear." You all know how that works. So we went in, and that was about 1975. So this is 2025. You all do the math. That class was the only couples class in this church, but we had now it's those of you who used to watch The West Wing will remember that there was a little girl that they hired to be an associate attorney, and they put her in the steam pipe distribution menu in the basement of the White House. You all remember that. Well, that's what they did to us, and we've talked many times about how we were put next to the furnace room so we'd get used to the heat, and that's the reason why we got our name. Back then we didn't know exactly what we were doing, but the class kept growing. And so there was a vacant room right next to the class that we were in, and one Friday night, we didn't know we had to get, did we know we had to get permission, John? I don't remember us getting any permission from anybody. We just went in and knocked the wall down.
Could have been a load bearing.
Yeah, we didn't know whether it was a load-bearing wall or not. We just knocked it down.
Blamed it on Samson.
Double the size of the room that we had, and it was fine except being next to the furnace room, it was hot. Nancy loved it.
How I miss those days.
So starting in the way that we have always done things, Bethel got us, now admittedly, a used air conditioner. And what?
I wanted to say that Carol, I want to mention her name too because she was one of those early members, but she built curtains for that room after we made it a room.
Carol put up the curtains, and we have been furnishing classrooms ever since. Everything that you see in here, somebody has contributed to this class, all the way from my chair. All you all got are the tables and the chairs that the church did. We've done all of this because John Browder would go out and find things like that little thing that says "It is well with my soul" and bring it in. He brought us a cowbell, and then somebody snitched it, so now we're down to doing something fancy instead. But we have always done that. It is the little things that we have done. Bethel was involved, Carol Poston was involved, Carol Nall, who is not here, was involved, Myra and Pat Browder. All of these people have contributed to what you have available to you today.
And the curtains decorated cinder block walls and metal folding chairs.
Cinder block walls and metal folding chairs, every bit of it. Now, the reason our class grew was not because we were so weird. I say that a lot, but that's really not the way. We had a superintendent of Sunday School by the name of Carl Keelan, and Carl wanted everybody in the church, and because he wanted to keep his numbers up. And so he would people would walk in the front door, didn't know where to go, and they'd end up down in the basement. And we kept on growing. Now what happened was we outgrew the room that time, and we didn't have a wall to knock down. So then they started inviting people to go and start other classes, and some people were glad to get out. Others wouldn't go at all. This class has been an incubator for servants in this church for 50 years. Something that we still do today, but we have been doing it then. We have a history of people working in other ministries. We assisted with the Kingdom Builders. We assisted with Habitat. Several families went off when our children were in the middle school and teenagers, the Pickles, the Stevens, the high schools. They went off then. Since that time, since we've been here, you all will remember that Becca, who used to sit over here, is no longer here because she's working with children. Tom and Donna Hall went to teach 5-year-olds at a time when the rest of us looked around and says, "Are you serious?" We have always been an incubator. There are too many places to mention. We have had the WMU, the deacons, the committees, the music. We have music, don't we? I thought we did. We've had teachers, we've had ushers, we've had everything under the sun come out of this. And we've had our good times too. When it came time to decorate the church, Pat Browder would get a group of people together and we'd do a forced march. Nancy would come, she wouldn't do anything except play the organ. While the rest of us were up on these ladders. I do need to point out that Bethel was our social chairman, and he would make sure that even that was a social. Now what you're seeing here is the Christmas social that he always wanted to have, and Bethel would make sure that there was food to be done, and then we would get together and have that social. But we also decorated. Now, I don't know what Dick was doing. I don't know what I was doing there, but we were waiting on Nancy to come play the organ, I think. But here's what was going on. We had to have a ladder that it took 10 men to get into the sanctuary. We only had 2 choices. There was a crank up in the attic where you could let those chandeliers down, or we could take the ladder and go up to them. And we all decided apparently that it was easier. It was easier, wasn't it, to put the ladder up? Long way up there. And here's what Nancy was doing while all that was going on. She's playing the piano, and Howard's holding the chair, and Bethel's up there trying to attach the Christmas leaf. We were in that until we just couldn't get up the ladders anymore.
I need that photo for our next company monthly safety meeting.
How you will find it in the book over there. I believe it's in the book. But
Sandy.
All of that was real greenery too.
as a matter of fact, and here it is. Jane McPherson, Sherry Newman, and Pat Browder. They brought in real greenery, and it was sticky.
And had, like bugs and stuff.
Yeah.
And bugs.
But we turned it. We did what Mary Poppins always said. We took a chore and turned it into fun. Now, there were sometimes it was just fun alone. Like, for example, when we had the pig roast, when Jerry Stevens and Jimmy Bell and who else was heavily involved in that? Jim Pickle was involved in that, and the men would cook all night long, and we would come in and eat the next day, and it was first Saturday in May. It was always cold. We had.
Well, not always.
Well, apparently not always.
It was always good.
And you always knew if there was food around that Gary Humphrey would be available. Me, I was wearing my coat. Some of the people that were at the pig roast. What?
Bully.
Yeah. So we had those times. Then we would have Christmas parties out at Pat and John Browder's house because we wanted to be sure we partied some. And Bethel, as I told you, was a social director. And that, of course, has come about. I can mention Buddy Birchfield and the donuts, and the donuts here are in honor of Buddy Birchfield, who you remember would bring us donuts until we all got sugar diabetes and couldn't eat them anymore.
Who was that in the middle?
Yeah.
Who is that in the middle, Gail?
Wow, okay.
There's no telling what Sue was thinking at the moment that that picture was taken. But we mention Jerry on a regular basis, and he is still having a hard time, but he's the reason why we have got this system set up to begin with. I don't know what to tell you about Kay and me. I don't know, but that was us. I want to talk about the Gold Dust twins, and I want to talk about it this way. Jane and I were on a vacation. One of those, Jane says I wouldn't take one but every 3 years, and then only do it for 3 or 4 days. But we had these two ladies, Martha White. Who's the other one?
Sister Lane.
All right, so there's still some of you, and Sister Laney, and they were the elder members of our group at that time. That's because George wanted them to be older than he was. That's right, isn't it, George? We went away one time, and I don't remember who was actually teaching, but I think Bethel decided he was going to teach, and he said, it's not enough for us to come in here on Sundays and sit and listen to somebody teach a lesson. It is not enough for us just to gather once a week. It is not enough for us to even have parties. We need to be useful. And so, with that, he and Carol said, what we need to do is be feeding people who cannot take care of themselves. And from that, we started a ministry where 2 things happened. First of all, we got a group of people in this class who would get together, and one cook, Nick was one of the cookers, because you know how he likes food, along with Marcus Melton. You all did cook together, didn't you?
Yep.
And then we had people who would deliver, and we had little old ladies from other classes who were 107 years old who would bring down food so that we could take it out. It became a big deal. It
Martha's
really did.
Meals. Martha's Meals.
And the reason I've still got these people up here is that Martha White got all involved in that. That's Marcia Pickle's mother, for those of you who don't know, but she got all involved in that. And she sort of was the spark plug that kept that thing running all the time. And when she died, we were still going, and we changed the name, or added the name, and called it Martha's Meals. And the Martha's Meals has reference to the Bible, of course, but it also has reference to Martha White, who kept us going in that particular service for many, many years. I do have a story that I want to tell you right quick about Sherry Newman. Sherry was in my office, and she would always have to leave a little early on the Thursdays the meal was being delivered, because Sherry was a deliverer. But what Sherry found out quickly, and what she did so well, was that she would take somebody up at the village up here a meal. Well, they got their meals at 4 o'clock. They were already done eating it by the time we even got out the door. But they were lonely. And they would take the little box and they'd set it over here, and Sherry would sit down with them, and she would spend an hour each time. Jim kept wondering when she was ever going to come home, because she found that the people that we were serving those meals to needed the people coming to see them as much as did the food, needed more than the food. So they did that. I would be remiss if I did not, and I happen to hurry along here, but I've got a thing here that says find a place, develop. For example, Marcus Melton. Marcus, member of our class, and we claim credit for it, but he decided that he couldn't do anything else, but he could drive. So he would pick up people who wanted to go to a doctor's appointment or something, and would carry them around as long as he was able to do that.
He also delivered DVDs after the church service to the people who couldn't get here.
And Nick is saying that he also delivered the DVDs. Now, because this class kept growing, we needed to have some way of keeping people up to date. And the first thing that happened was that we started, because there were people like Ken and Carolyn Granger who knew something about computers, and they started putting out this little thing that you all now refer to as the BRB, the Boiler Room Bulletin. And they carried that on for several years. After Ken died, then Nick and Kay have picked that up, along with the card ministry that you all do. There is something going on in this class all the time. Now we have the next generation. We do call you all the next generation, don't we? And they're carrying on, but I want you to know that this class has made an impact on this church and continues to. I am proud to be a part of it, odd as you all are. You know that thing about I think everybody's a little odd except me and thee, and sometimes I wonder about thee. But I want you to know that I, for one, appreciate it. The church appreciates it. Anytime something comes up, they're going to come and ask us how we can be a help. Now I have one little, I say it's 10:20, it's time for the picture. But I got something I want to say. I got something I want to say. I want to say it to all of you Republicans and you Democrats and you Independents and all you people who have no political affiliation whatsoever. You with me so far? Apparently, our national leaders can't get together on anything. They can blame one another all day long. I understand that. I got no comment about that at all. What I do have a comment about is that in this community, there will be families soon who will be going to the hands of mercy, which we all support anyhow, looking for food. So what I'm saying to you is, this year, as you feel led, we need to remember that ministry exists, and we've got what I choose to call associate members who are over there working all the time anyhow. But I want you to remember that we can make a difference here at home. That's what we have always done. That's what Bobby Collier wanted us to do in churches. That's what Gail wants people to do with regard to the shoes. Everybody's got some kind of place. What I've got written down here is, the good thing about this class is it encourages us to find a place to serve Jesus. We come together and support one another. The little thing that's on the church website says that this is a class that laughs and cries together. We hold one another together. We support one another, and that's every bit of it true. Some of you all are here today and have made a real effort to get here when you really didn't feel like going anywhere. Isn't that right? So, with that in mind, I don't know what we're supposed to do next, but here we are trying to find out what we're supposed to do next. But the thing that I want you to remember that I've got down here, you've seen all these pictures, but you probably haven't seen that one. A week before he died. Bethel Posted was making sure that we would have a gathering, and there we were. There'll be a brief intermission here.
Everybody rally, we gotta go out there.
Out there.